Sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device. All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, August the 24th, 2022. Jersey Johnny coming at you with me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hi, everybody.
Good evening.
How the hell are you two this evening?
Just fantastic.
Fan-friggin-tastic.
Yes, I'm excited and energized.
You are? What happened? Colonic?
Yeah.
Well, I had a little mini...
Colonic.
Well, that too, but a little mini vacation.
Oh, nice.
And so got away for a couple of days.
I did notice that. You went up to the island of Rhodes, right?
Yes, the port of New in Island of Rhodes.
Gotcha. Nice.
Unfortunately, the family was with me, but still, it was pretty good. Anyway.
Yeah. They felt the same way, but...
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, believe me, I had to lobby hard just to be able to get in the car. It was 3 against 1. But
in the car, I mean.
Yeah. But it was nice because we didn't think we were going to do anything this year, and we managed to find a couple of days to go in, eat some seafood, and
nice.
Stop at a furniture store with a gigantic indoor ropes course.
Yes. You stopped
on the way
at
back.
the right? You stopped at.
Yeah.
Wait, a furniture store with an indoor rope?
Oh yeah,
course?
yeah, in West Haven, Connecticut. Yep.
Yeah.
What do you have to walk across a rope in order to get your armoire? What?
No, it's just kind of inside, like in the back of the store. It's a really big. It's a Jensen's, I think it's called.
Jensen's is the name of the store, and there's a big IT. It's in pink.
Okay.
When you're driving up
So
95.
it's a similar concept where I get my appliances, where they have the cockfighting in the back later at night.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay. But you can get a discount if your cock wins, right?
Well, yeah. Or if you get a second cock if you buy 2 refrigerators.
Oh,
exactly.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
A backup cock.
A backup cock. Always good to have a backup cock.
You always need one. A stunt cock.
Exactly.
One to do the really dangerous stuff.
That's right.
Exactly.
The ringer. In case little Jerry doesn't pan out.
Right. Exactly. So Pete, when you're up in the Port of New, did you go by the cliff walk at all?
We did some of the cliff walk, and went in the whatever house with the welcome center in it and stuff, and walked around. It's kind of, it was interesting because we went in 3 of the houses. 2 of them were Vanderbilt houses, and like you can't even absorb it. They're just so gaudy, and there's so much stuff all over and everything.
Yep.
And then we went in the Marble House, was the 3rd one, and that one was a little more understated, not as ornate, and we all agreed we liked that one the most.
Best, yeah.
But we went in the first house, which was the Welcome Center, which you could get to from the cliff walk. And there was a detour. We had to leave the cliff walk. They were fixing it or whatever, so part of it was closed. And then I was like, okay, I'm going back to the road, and I'm gonna get in the car, and I'll meet you guys down at the end, because they were gonna
keep walking.
But they couldn't. The wife and kids couldn't get to any of the other houses from the cliff walk, which they don't tell you.
Right.
So they were not going to go to the end. Actually, I was going to meet them down at one of the other houses originally, but they were like, we can't get off this damn thing. So they had to go all the way to the end, and I drove down and picked them up, and then we went back the next day and drove to the 2 houses that we wanted to go to.
You left them there overnight, huh?
I was like, you can walk back.
Okay, have a nice stay at the Marble House.
Yeah, there's a lot of
the floors are nice and cool.
The walls too.
Oh yeah.
So, but it was nice.
So you didn't happen to? I would imagine you didn't, but just out of curiosity, you didn't go to Poor Judgment, did you?
No.
No, he lives in that every day.
I was usually trying to get out of that.
At least I do.
It's POUR.
That's right. Yes,
yes. No, we went.
That's right. It's not down by the marina, down by the yacht club and all of that stuff. It's over by it's like kind of in the middle. It's like up the hill a little bit. There's like one stretch of shops that go down one road that the church is at the end of. That's where it is. So.
I feel like there's
okay.
Jimmy Buffett playing at all times.
I think we might have parked maybe near there because we did park on the upper side of the big wharf and stuff.
Right.
But no, we went to Flo's Clam Shack and had lunch there, and then my wife likes to walk and window shop.
Sure.
And we did a lot of that and stopped at the Pepper Palace and got a couple of bottles of hot sauces.
Nice.
And then I just sat on a bench and I said, when you come back, we'll meet up. It was, it was just, I'm too fat to just walk around for 4 hours a day.
There you go.
Just for 2 days in a row. It just doesn't. So then they came back and then we were walking back and everyone was tired. And we just stopped in some pub and for dinner. And it actually turned out to be pretty good.
Nice.
Pretty good food. So we're happy. So it's not,
Yeah, I like Rhode Island. I like Newport. Newport's a nice town.
Yeah. It was I don't know, like that. My wife knows some people who like they go back year after year, and I'm like, what for? Like I can see going there a couple times or whatever, but
we brought to you by the New England Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
Rhode Island. What for?
We go up to Boston at least once every year, and like maybe once every 2 or 3 years, we'll stop in Rhode Island on the way for a day.
Right.
That's kind of what we do.
Yeah, it's like Newport again. But to go back I guess if you got money and you want to go and like we didn't get down to the beach. Right. If you want to go every year and spend a week and just wander around and eat a lot of fresh seafood and hang out at the beach and stuff.
Sure.
It's certainly as nice a place to go as anywhere else. That's not, we certainly couldn't, as a family, we couldn't do that over and over again.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Not really our thing.
And it's a tiny little state. I mean, Rhode Island is pretty much smaller than Nassau County. So.
Right.
Yeah,
I thought we were going to Providence at first, but.
There you go.
Whatever.
There you go. Harry, any interesting trips that you have done?
Nope.
Nothing at all.
Nope.
Okay.
Let's get on with it.
Get on with it.
Already wasted 30 minutes.
Get on with it, boys. Get on with it.
3-day vacation. Let's move.
All right. So listen, I'm gonna change this background. We're gonna talk about baseball first. So I'm gonna put the baseball background up. There was just something that happened the last couple nights in New York. It's something that happens every year. Happened once already this year in Citi Field, and now it was Yankee Stadium's turn to host the Subway Series. And as good as the Mets looked in the first one in Citi Field, they looked just that shitty in the second one in Yankee Stadium. I found it interesting, and I'll just throw this out there first, and we'll continue the discussion. I'm sure Harry's got plenty to talk about. But I found it amazing how easy it seemed for the Mets offense, for the Mets batters, to make mediocre Yankee pitchers all look like aces. And I just found it amazing. So, can you give me your opinion on what I just said?
Before Harry goes, let me just say this.
Go right ahead.
I don't know if I can consider 2 games a series.
Yeah.
Okay.
Neither do
it's
I.
Just not.
So let's look at it as a 4-game series, and it's 2-2.
And it's
right,
split.
and it's split, and it's completely unsatisfying. That to me, that was always one of the great things about the interleague game was somebody gets bragging rights, and because if you had 3 games, and whether it was at your house last year and it's at our house this year, that's kind of the way I thought it always worked best.
Right.
And somebody could be whatever. Yeah, you're going to the playoffs, so we're not. But we took 2 out of 3 from you,
right?
Whatever.
Right.
So okay, yeah, the Mets looked good for 2 games, and they looked terrible at the plate, and made plenty of stupid mistakes on the base paths.
Yeah.
They didn't look like a very good team overall.
Yeah.
Well, I saw different games, and granted, a lot of it I was kind of watching in dribs and drabs. The Mets were 1 pitch away from winning the game, pretty much both nights.
Sure.
I think the Mets and the Yankees are very similar teams in that I think they both have a lot of strengths. Obviously, they both already won over 70 games some would argue that maybe they're the 2 top teams in baseball. I would say they're 2 of the top 5, maybe 6.
Mm-hmm.
The Mets obviously have better starting pitching. I think the cop-out of not starting Jacob deGrom in that second game was bad for baseball. Good for the Yankees probably, but bad for baseball, and probably bad for the Mets and Jacob deGrom moving forward. Because if the Mets are going to win a World Series, Jacob deGrom's got to go someplace like Yankee Stadium in a playoff atmosphere and win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the Yankees finally did in these last couple games what they did prior to July, and that was put themselves in a position to win and score enough runs. The only positive thing I see from these Yankee wins, people are like, oh, the Yankees back on track. Far from it. The only positive things I see is that some of the pieces that the Yankees have put in place and some of the maneuvers that the Yankees have done to their lineup, and with finally demoting some players, is that they're starting to balance their reliance on the home run with being able to create runs. Andrew Benintendi, DJ LeMahieu, I've been saying this, put them at the top of the lineup, okay? Put them at the top of the lineup and have the best power hitter in baseball move down to the 3rd or 4th spot and not the 2nd spot. They're able to manufacture some runs. Having said that.
Well, and that was tough to say when Benintendi first came over.
Right. That's why I said
what happened to this guy?
He's finally hitting.
Right. And he's still hitting over 300
And
now. So,
quite honestly, last week, I think he cost them a game with his defense. It was a tough play, but he should have caught the fucking ball. Cole should have been out of that inning, and the Yankees it would have been a different game. Those are the kind of things that are differentiators in a season. Those are the kind of things that make champions versus non-champions. Having said all of this, okay, the Yankees and the Mets still have 2 big problems. With the Yankees, it's the fact that their pitching especially has been decimated by injuries. Their stellar bullpen is in shreds. And I'm sitting there last night going, okay, Schmidt is pitching 3 innings, and can he please just get one fucking strike on these guys? The Mets, on the other hand, okay, have one of the best closers in the baseball. And while, yes, their middle relief has not been great, there's an issue there. They have to do something. But I don't think it's time for Mets fans to panic. They lost 2 games against a good team at Yankee Stadium. Both games could have very easily went to the Mets. They didn't look horrible. It wasn't 12-0. They didn't lose, 16-1. Scherzer didn't get shelled. Judge didn't hit 4 home runs in one game. 4-2 games. These are the kind of games that can go either way. Meanwhile, the Dodgers and the Astros keep moving on and beating good teams. And oh, by the way, I'm not so sure that the Mets aren't still a better team, because the Mets have proven that they can at least beat the teams that they should be beating. Are they supposed to look? If the Yankees and Mets play 2 more games in that series in the Bronx, it's very easily a toss-up. The Mets, especially if DeGrom pitches game 3, the Mets could have very easily tied that series up and then had if they played 2 more games, the Mets could have won the series 4-2 this year.
Yeah, they didn't do something that they've done pretty well, which is get hits in timely situations.
Mm-hmm.
But what they
have so many runners in scoring position. Just last night, forget about
what the Yankees did, and what you said before about a balanced offense, they got hits that weren't home runs in timely situations, and of course did get some home runs as well.
Now, the flip side of the Mets keeping it close was that the Yankees numerous times had an opportunity to blow it open. The Yankees' biggest problem is that they are horrendous with runners in scoring position. And it comes down to the bottom half of their lineup. It comes down to Donaldson, Torres, they just are, Rizzo even. They're so easy to strike out. Their prevalence to strike out. Now, the good thing is that they didn't strike out a ton in these 2 games against the Mets, but the game before, or 2 games before that, I think they struck out 14 times. So they're inconsistent. I think the Mets are a much more consistent team. Nothing has changed my opinion that the Mets are still a better team. I still think that the Astros are the best team in baseball. And oh, by the way, they just keep winning and beating good teams.
Except for when they played the Braves,
right,
and lost.
right. So
Which-
and the Braves are another team, and look, right now, if you had to look at the Mets and Dodgers in a 7-game series, I personally think it's a complete toss-up. If I had to bet on it, though, I would give it to the Mets because of DeGrom and Scherzer, and mostly because of Scherzer in the playoffs. That's why. It all comes down to pitching, and that's why, as good as the Yankees are, look, Herman is a good pitcher. He's been inconsistent as hell. Okay, the Yankees went out and got Frankie Montas. Yes, he was last guy picked for dodgeball at the trade deadline, but he's been horrible. So he finally had a decent game. He didn't shut out the Mets for 8 innings. He gave up 2 runs in 5 1/3 or something like that. So it's not like they were, it's not like they were overwhelming the Mets lineup. They did what they were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Yankees' best pitcher is Nestor Cortez. The second best pitcher on some days is Garrett Cole. That does not match up to any of the other teams that I've mentioned and their starting lineup and their starting pitching going in. And oh, by the way, who's the Yankees closer? I don't know. The Yankees are now resting their hopes on Zach Britton, who has not pitched since 2018.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be their closer because Clay Holmes' sinker doesn't sink anymore. And Aroldis Chapman is a nut job. And even Aaron Boone, I think, has finally come to the realization that I cannot bring that guy into a game of circumstance. I just can't. So their bullpen is decimated and their starting pitching is suspect. And since the trade deadline, the pitcher with the second best ERA in baseball is Jordan Montgomery, who the Yankees traded for a injured center fielder. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
And that wraps it up. All right. Shall we get on with it?
The Mets are fine. The Mets are a really good team.
How do you think they're going to do?
Better than the Yankees.
Your
better than the Yankees.
Your honest opinion, how are they going to do in their next series? They got a 4-game series starting tomorrow night.
Who are they playing?
Their Mets are at home, and they're playing a 4-game series against the Rockies.
Oh, well, the Rockies, last time I checked this afternoon, the Rockies were down like 12-0 in the 4th inning. So if there's nothing, if the Mets, yes. Now, the Rockies are also kind of a wild card. You never know what you're going to get out of them. But yeah, they should be able, this should be an opportunity for them to win. Yeah. DeGrom against the Rockies. I mean, I think they'll bounce back at least in that first game.
Here's my concern. The Mets have 4 games against the Rockies, and then they have 3 games against 3 games against the Dodgers at home, and then 3 games against the Nationals. The Mets should be able to win. Let's even say they lose 1 game between the 4 games with the Rockies and the 3 games with the Nationals. Let's just say they lose 1 game, right?
That's reasonable.
All right. So they go 6-1 in those 2 series.
Mm-hmm.
The other series is a 3-game series against the Dodgers. Okay. I can't, even though the Mets are home, I can't see them not going 1-2.
Depends on the pitching matchups with the Dodgers and the Mets, to be quite honest with you.
Right.
If the Mets pace it so that you got Scherzer and DeGrom, this is what the Mets need to do. They need to have Scherzer and DeGrom in every series because that gives them the best chance to win any 3-game series.
I don't know if they're going to have either of them because DeGrom is set to pitch tomorrow night now.
True.
Okay. So that would mean 1, 2, 3. Yeah, DeGrom will pitch again during one of the games with the Dodgers. But Scherzer's due on Sunday against the Rockies, which means he's not pitching again until the National Series.
But don't you? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's you need to do something in order to allow for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that it's all about consistency until it's not about consistency. Yeah. And look, that Mets Dodgers series is going to be a great series. It's going to be a great series. Dodgers have won 85 games. 85 games.
I know.
Yeah. I know. Nobody's talking about them.
I said last night, should the Mets wave as the Braves go by or give them the finger?
I think the Mets are going to hold on. I think the Mets are.
Well, the reason here's where I was going with that. The Braves, let me just pull it up really quick here.
Braves have the Cardinals for 3.
Yep. Good team.
Then when the Mets are playing the Dodgers, they've got the Rockies for 3, and then 3 against the Marlins. So they're just getting the tough team out of the way, and then it's 6 games against crap teams. So it's a virtual same situation for the Mets rather, and the Braves.
Right.
And that you've got a series against a tough team, although the Dodgers are a little bit tougher than the Cardinals, but not a whole lot. Cardinals are good and kind of, coming into their own. But, they're both playing the Rockies, and then you got the Marlins, who might be a little bit tougher for the Braves than the Nationals.
Right.
But the Nationals now, who is the Mets bugaboo this year? It's the Nationals, isn't it?
Yeah. No, they've played the Nationals well. They've won 4.
I don't think anybody's been the Mets bugaboo this year. I think the Mets have a winning record against everybody in the National League.
Yeah. I thought that maybe it was I thought there was one team that, not that they had a losing record against, that they shouldn't.
Well, they lost a couple to the Marlins early on.
Yeah, maybe it was the Marlins that they just. But so virtual same situation, just a little different order over the next 9 games.
Well, and I think I texted you guys. I'm not so convinced the Yankees are going to hold on to their lead. This next couple series with the Yankees is going to dictate what happens. If they slide back into this malaise that's really made them one of the worst teams its last month in baseball, there's no way they're going to hold on to this 8-game lead. There's no way.
See, I think Yankees are going to come alive.
I hope you're right. What
do we got here? We got the A's. We got the Angels. And then you got Tampa in the first weekend of September.
Yeah, the team.
Then you got 4 against
that just swept them.
Then you got 3 out of 4. Then you got 4 against the Twins. Then you got the Rays again. Then you got the Red Sox and
Time will tell. Look, the last couple games, the last 3 games for the Yankees has at least been a little bit of some false hope.
If they keep doing kind of what they were doing,
they need to get healthy. They need their arms back, and they need Stanton back in the lineup. They need Stanton back in the lineup because that changes everything.
Yeah, they get a couple of those pitchers back, and
I mean, losing Matt Carpenter was big. And look, they've lost 3 of their top 5 pitchers out. Done. So we'll see.
The Braves beat the Pirates today, so they're only a game and a half behind the Mets.
Yep.
1 game in the win column, 2 games in the loss column.
Yeah, between the Braves, the Dodgers, let's not totally rule out the Brewers, although I think that they're in the next level there. And then the Astros, I'm not sure the Yankees are there with the Astros. I don't think they are. But if you look at the other teams in the American League, I think the Yankees have a good shot. The team that the Yankees do not match up well against also could be in the playoffs, and that's either Tampa Bay or Seattle. And they don't do well against either of those teams. So we shall see. We shall see.
Certainly.
And by the way, Cleveland's quietly creeping up and has built a 3.5 game lead over the Twins.
They have. They have.
Yeah, the White Sox are falling.
Yes, they are. All right.
On to the next one.
On to the next. All right. Well, there's this thing that's going on. Pete, you were going to bring it up at the a potential sale happening out in
it's to me, I mean, until something happens, it's much ado about nothing. But I think that, I don't know, this story about the potential sale of the Angels is about as boring as watching the Angels play. There's a couple of guys you want to watch.
Not quite as boring as watching paint dry, but
not
close.
Not quite.
Close.
No. So Artie Moreno says he's going to sell the team. He's had success.
He's what, 80, 77, 78?
Something like that, yeah.
He doesn't want to he wants to be able to maximize his value in it and not necessarily and pay off his family as opposed to have him take over the team. It's that simple.
So they're estimated to be worth $2.2 billion according to Forbes.
Yeah.
But to me the question is, the interesting thing about it is, will they move or will they stay where they are?
No.
They
always wind up back in Southern California. They may move within Southern California,
but they'll probably.
Maybe they'll go to Fresno.
Moreno bought the Angels in 2003 for 184
Culver
million.
City.
184 million.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And 20 years later, 2.2 billion. So that's a pretty good return on your investment there.
Pretty good return on investment. Now, let me ask you a question, though. I had a thought of this. What do you think about this? What do you think about Steve Cohen buying the Angels as well? Sending Shohei Ohtani and any other good players over to the Mets, swapping back and forth with some players they don't need, and then
making the Angels a farm system for the Mets.
No. Doing the deal, swap players, get everybody you want, and then resell the team.
So if you suck, you're banished to the Angels.
Yeah. So what I love about that equation is the Shohei Ohtani and any other good players that the Angels have. Look, Shohei Ohtani is fascinating to me, but this love affair with him is, it drives me absolutely fucking bonkers.
I know.
And number two, the other player on that team, I don't think
the other player.
Yeah, that you're talking about.
There's only two.
Well,
I know
there is.
I know.
And that other player for years.
But that other player might be injured now for who knows how long.
So. For years, he's been, I think rightfully so, branded as the best player in baseball. Mm-hmm. And you look, it's all about pitching. You could have Mike Trout on your team, but it doesn't mean anything, because the last time they won the World Series, the Angels, it was because they had 27 relievers who did not give up a run in the playoffs in 2000 and whatever it was, and A-Rod coming in, or K-Rod coming in and closing it down with his goggles. I think that it's interesting. It's a slow sports news day kind of thing. If they sell, like a lot of teams have sold, the Broncos just recently sold a longtime family owned deal. Now, it's half Walmart, half Condoleezza Rice, or whatever the fuck it is. I think they're going to stay in Southern California. Yeah.
Well, look, they have,
where do they play now?
Haven't won a division title since 2014. Well, haven't had a winning record since 2015. Now here's
that's not that long ago.
Yeah.
Well,
we're collectively Giants and Jets fans.
Yeah, that's true. But here's the thing: like Mike Trout's locked up for the next, 10.
He's
or 12
locked
years
up, literally. His back is locked up.
Right, but I mean, I would think that this almost assures that Shohei Ohtani will go somewhere else,
or he's the piece that's gonna make it sellable and stay.
Right.
But they're gonna have to. How does Artie Moreno sign him and then sell the team? I mean, why would he? In other words, why would he do that if he doesn't know who's going to buy the team, if anybody's going to buy the team?
But by signing him, that when you're buying the team, you're getting him for a certain amount of time.
But I don't think Ohtani is going to be interested in that. I'm going to re-sign a long-term deal.
Who cares if the ownership changes? Maybe it's a better ownership. Maybe it's ownership that's going to put a winning team on the field.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I would say that if the sale does happen and there's whatever unrest there is in moving forward with a sale, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen overnight.
No.
Right.
No.
I honestly think that you just based on every stories out there and the fact that Billy Epler was responsible or instrumental in getting Ohtani to go to the Angels, and Cohen has deep pockets, you might see Shohei Ohtani in Queens. So,
and not only that, but what if they go to Vegas?
Mm-hmm.
But what if they bought? What if they move? What if they're bought and they move to Vegas?
But they have. Didn't we talk about this a couple of weeks back? They have one of the better
Angels playing in Sin City.
But they have one of the best turnouts in all of baseball.
They do.
And they're in arguably the largest metropolitan area. There's no.
But they're also competing with 4 other teams in the state.
In the state, that's like saying the Giants compete against the Bills in New York. I mean, come on.
Well, but there's
the Bay
three teams in New York for which every fan could be.
Yeah, but the Bay Area is a completely different world. If you're a Giants or A's fan, you're not saying,
right.
"Gee, I
Okay.
wonder."
Yes, I agree. But who's like the lamest ass group of fans of any California baseball team?
Well, the
Angel fans.
The Angels are the Mets of California. So I think they actually have a really big fan base, and I think it's diverse, and I think it's way more blue collar than the Dodgers fan base is. And I think I don't think there's any issue with attendance or anything else with the Angels. For them to move to Los Angeles and have to play baseball indoors in some sort of air-conditioned fucking freak dome is, I'm sorry. Why would you want to leave Southern California and Anaheim? I mean, wasn't there, how long ago was their stadium built? Isn't it a fairly new stadium too? I don't know.
I don't know. If I'm buying the team, I might not want to compete with other baseball teams. I hear what you're saying. I think we talked about the attendance and stuff.
I think it was renovated. I think it was built a long time ago. Maybe they do need a new stadium. Maybe they need a new location. But the where the Angels play and where the Dodgers play is almost two different worlds, and they're serving two different fan bases. I bet there's very few people who go to both arenas. Much like there's very few people, quite honestly, that go and watch the A's and watch the Giants. It's two completely different experiences.
It was built in 1966.
It was renovated recently, though, I think.
It was renovated.
So they were the California Angels, then they were the
1974.
Anaheim Angels, now they're the Los Angeles Angels, and they haven't moved. I don't think they're going.
The stadium is often referred to by its unofficial nickname, the Big A. Go with that where you want. That's fine.
It'll be interesting to see where they go, but it's a non-story till it happens. I think Shohei Ohtani's going somewhere else.
I would
want him to go somewhere.
I would concur.
You don't have to love him, but I still am going to.
Well, but why? If he's on the Brewers, how is that any different for baseball than if he's on the Angels? I don't understand it.
Right.
Probably
don't get it.
Makes the Brewers a little more.
It makes the Brewers a little better. Yeah, exactly. So.
Maybe depending on what they have to give up for him. He's signed. He's not a free agent.
Well, it depends. No, he's signed through next year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if he wants to move now, he has to obviously ask for a trade, but he can play another year out there and then go wherever he wants.
Do you really think he signed with the California Angels because of the owner?
No, I don't think he signed with the. No, he was apparently.
No, well, they bought the rights to be able to sign him.
Right.
So they got the first dibs and made him a good offer, and he took the deal.
There you go. So,
unless it's a deal that's made in this off season and completed, and we know if there's uncertainty and they're still going to be up for sale, I think he goes somewhere else.
There you go.
Yeah, that's fine. This falls on the I don't care.
And I think he comes east, and I think he goes to a team.
Of course, you want him on the Mets.
Of course.
Why wouldn't
everybody's going to wind up on the Mets?
Well, and then
they're the new Nets
eventually.
Then they move to Vegas, and Mike Trout doesn't want to be in Vegas, so he wants out.
They're not moving to Vegas.
Yeah, but Mike Trout has his druthers, he's going to go to his childhood favorite team, which is the Phillies. So,
yeah, because he grew up in
South
Jersey.
South Jersey.
He can languish. Well, listen, it would make the Phillies a much better team too.
Mike Trout's wrapped up though for like another 5 years, isn't he?
Oh, he's till like 2030.
Yeah, he's going to stay with the Angels.
He signed a 12-year deal in 2019.
Yeah,
so 2031.
Yeah.
Ice your back, cash your checks.
Not 4 minutes on the Angels.
There you go. Let's get on with it. As we said, let's get on with it. All right, let's switch it up. Let's throw one as Harry said earlier before we started the show. Let's throw a wrench in the works and jump to basketball now. What do you think?
Sure.
All right, Harry. Tell me what your thoughts are. And you know what, Pete, since it's your team, tell me what your thoughts are on KD now staying in Brooklyn.
They're not going to win anything this year.
Well,
I'm pretty sure I said when Harden came over, the big three will never win anything.
Yeah, but the original,
Now they got the big 2.5.
No,
the big 2.5. The original, there we go. The original idea was just KD and Kyrie, and they're still both there. So
right, and they're now facing the same problem they had,
Right.
which they overreacted to by bringing in James Harden. In that you still have the Kyrie flake situation, a possibility.
Is that a cereal?
It should be.
Kyrie flakes.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, comes in a flat dish.
Yeah, they're shaped like a flat Earth.
Yeah.
But the problem now is that they're in worse shape personnel because of the trade they made for Harden, trading away their depth, trading away their defense, and a lot of those guys turned out to be or were already pretty good players. So they sort of have to figure out what they're going to do. It can't obviously just be KD and Kyrie, maybe, and then a host of other guys. There's other really good teams in the East.
Well,
so look, it doesn't surprise me that KD is going to play.
Right.
It's kind of refreshing to see a team say, nope, we're not giving in to your demands. If he said, I'm not going to play, then it might be a different story. But it doesn't surprise me that he is going to play. Is this the beginning of a period of everything getting worked out? And KD's got, 3 years left on his deal, 3 or 4 years? And he'll be around and they'll get it together and he'll happily play for the Nets for the next few years? I don't think so.
I don't think that's going to happen now.
I don't think so. I think they'll let things cool off as far as the crazy trade market goes. Thank you, Danny Ainge. And then they'll find a way to move him. But for right now, they're not giving in to his demands, which is good. That's one of the things we always complain about, right? The players running the show. Unfortunately, they're still going to have issues with the people running the team, and they need a better coach.
Yep.
So, they're sort of reset now to back to where they were pre-Harden, only with lesser personnel. So I don't know why anybody has super high hopes about this. Now, Kyrie could stick around for the whole year, and if monkeypox doesn't become a thing, then he can play the home games and all that. And
does he have monkeypox?
No, I'm just saying if monkeypox gets big and we all have to mask up or get vaccinated or whatever.
I think you don't catch it through the air. You catch it, right? Don't you catch monkeypox from
a monkey? I don't think so.
Not from a monkey, but
from
acting like one.
Other things. Yeah.
I don't know, but it's the next,
I think as long as you keep your pants on in public, your chances of getting monkeypox are pretty minimal.
I don't know. They're shipping out vaccines for it, so.
Well, yeah, I mean,
sure.
But in other words, if we don't have any sort of a quarantine or a must vaccinate situation, and you can play all the games, then you've got KD and Kyrie, and I guess you build from there. You've still got some other good pieces, right? You're getting Joe Harris back, I guess. But
right.
I mean,
you have two of the top 10 percentage-wise 3-point shooters in the NBA in Curry and Joe Harris. Joe Harris had a great year, not a great playoffs, got hurt. We don't know where the real Joe Harris is come playoff time. And then they got a bunch of older guys who are serviceable. And if I see Blake Griffin one more time, I'm going to just...
Yeah, I mean, this team as it's constituted, I don't think is ultimately going to be a huge challenge to win the Eastern title and go to the NBA Finals.
Who's better than them in the East right now?
Milwaukee.
Okay, I agree. One player goes down on Milwaukee. One of their top three are the Nets not equally as good?
Yeah, we can play out all those scenarios. You're right.
Yeah.
We can say that about anybody. If one player goes down on
Do you think that with Ben Simmons being able to play and possibly cover a Chris Middleton or somebody, and Kyrie actually playing a good portion of the year and going into the playoffs as a team, do you not think that Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons and the roster they have now can't beat Milwaukee in a 7-game series?
They can. I'm not convinced Ben Simmons is going to be playing.
Right. I'm just saying, I think he will. I think all indications are that he's going to play this year.
Potentially, yes.
Well, he's ready to play. His injuries over.
So he says. He's also in New York, and if he stinks up the joint a little bit and starts hearing the booze, and I'm not trying to make fun of his anxiety or those issues. I'm just saying if they resurface, it could be an issue.
Yeah,
could be a problem.
I think Brooklyn's in the top 4. I mean, look, I like it that he's staying because it makes me easy. It's easier for me to hate the Nets now because they're all together. I don't have to hate all the assholes on different teams. Yeah, I mean, look, Kevin Durant. This is a sea change in that these guys make so much money that you can't afford to trade them because there is what the teams are asking for in return is exorbitant. And yes, it's the Danny Ainge effect with the Rudy Gobert trade. And maybe, just maybe, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, maybe Danny Ainge did something good by doing that. And that maybe we'll start to see some of these guys stay on the teams that they've signed long-term contracts to. What a novel concept. Yeah. And this trade me. Oh, okay. All right, superstar, we'll trade you. Well, we can't trade you. All right, then get rid of the GM and my coach. No, we're not going to do that. Okay.
No, it's refreshing to see somebody, not just acquiesce to the superstars. And the only other thing I'll say, knock wood, Kevin Durant's another year older. At some point, and obviously his skills are not going to fall off the table, but at some point there's going to be
a decline. Sure.
No, but
again, until that happens,
when he's on the court, or his ability to play basketball, the only question mark next to Kevin Durant at all is his durability.
Right.
When was the last time he played a full season? So, look,
that's not going to suddenly improve.
No.
Now that he's another year older.
No.
So, but
I think that was a big part of it. I think that was a big part of it.
Right, and that's another thing. If you're getting greatness from him when he's on the floor, wonderful. But if he can't be on the floor quite as much, well, now you've got to find somebody, obviously not to exactly fill his shoes, but to compensate for not having him on the floor for the extra, 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, 6 minutes a game as he gets older and, and certainly as he gets, deeper into the season, these guys don't recover. So, and there's going to be more, game management, as much as we all love that. So, look, I'm a pessimist, and that comes from being a Nets fan for a long time. They certainly have potential to do a lot of things, but I think they have some work to do to build a better team.
They're thin because of the Harden trade.
Yeah.
They got they just wanted to get rid of Harden, because they couldn't get rid of Kyrie, and Kyrie is the big question mark. And we'll see what happens. The one thing I will say about Kevin Durant is when he's on the court, nothing really gets in his way.
No, he's money.
But I also think he just needs to be more aggressive and take more shots and take over the team. And I think if Kevin Durant wanted to, he could average 38 to 40 points a game.
Interesting.
Probably.
I think he's the most efficient player. I think he's the most efficient player in the history of the NBA, with the exception of maybe Wilt Chamberlain in the 50s and 60s, whenever he started.
And I think Kyrie would probably be okay with that. It seems like he doesn't want to be the number one.
No, he doesn't even want to play every day. So
it's going to be interesting, but I would love to see it come together. But they again, as you said, they're thin, so it doesn't. One or two guys go down. It doesn't have to be Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving going down, and then they're really thin. And now Kevin Durant has to put up 35 plus every game, and I don't know.
Let me ask you both this on those kind of notes, and you brought up Danny Ainge before. Where do you think the Donovan Mitchell storyline will wind up going?
I think he's gonna wind up playing with Utah.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see any major trades of superstars this year because two things are happening. Number one is their salary. They got paid so much and they're under certain salary obligations now. Right. And the second part of it is that the compensation piece has been skewed so much. Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell are better players than Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is a good player, but it's just that's going to linger for at least another off season until somebody's willing to move somebody for far less. And these days of just saying, okay, I signed this guy, he's getting paid this much. You still have to take on that contract.
Right.
So that's the other part of it is that, Donovan Mitchell is expensive. Kevin Durant is expensive. And you have salary caps and you have everything else in the way. Donovan Mitchell's a nice piece for the Knicks, but he's not the answer to them all of a sudden becoming are they better? Yeah, depending on what they have to give up. But I think that he is one of those guys who on the right team is a great player. Like, if Donovan Mitchell went to the Nets, then that's a totally different game changer than if he goes to the Knicks. Not going to happen, but that's my point. Is he's one of those kind of guys. Utah, arguably the best regular season team the last 3 years, right? If you look at their combined, they just didn't seem to have the right juice come playoff time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all on Rudy Gobert, or does Donovan Mitchell have some of that fall on his shoulders? We shall see. I'd love to see him go to the Knicks. I don't think it's at be all end all, and I still think Utah's got a pretty good team, and there's still going to be a challenge in the West with what they have.
So you think? Do you think Ainge is asking for too much?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he wants to get rid of Mitchell unless he gets a complete steal for him. Yeah. He's asking for too much, and I don't think he's Danny Ainge's perfectly fine making somebody play where he doesn't want to play,
right? And
fill out his obligation.
Sure.
So and look, what the other thing that Danny Ainge could go back to Donovan Mitchell with is, hey, we've got some pretty good draft picks coming in here, and we've got some room now, and we've got the ability to rebuild around you. With their draft capital that they just scored, why Donovan Mitchell's a young guy? Why would you want to go to the Knicks? Mm-hmm. It's like, why did the coach of the Utah Jazz leave? Was it Donovan Mitchell that didn't want him, or he's proven to be a really good coach. I thought he should have won Coach of the Year 2 years ago. I don't know why Schneider decided to, or was he bounced, or was it mutual? We don't really know.
Who knows?
Who's coaching the Utah Jazz? Have they named a coach yet? No.
No.
I think that's a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the last time, I guess it was the other way.
I wonder if that has anything to do with the fact that Donovan Mitchell is not going anywhere yet. Okay. Maybe they're looking to make a move before they hire a coach.
Oh, I'm sure they are. But I think my point being is I think it's settling into the reality that he's going to stay. Right. And they don't have much time. The season starts in a couple of months. It's maybe we should get a coach on board.
Well, and he's not a free agent until 2026.
Yep. And
so he doesn't, unless he's going to trade me or I'm not playing.
You saw what Patino said yesterday, right?
No.
He said Donovan Mitchell would treasure playing for the Knicks.
Yeah, that's Rick. When was the last time Rick Pitino? How many drinks in was Rick Pitino when he said
that? 2 or 5.
What does he know about basketball?
Well, exactly. What does he know anymore about basketball? Really? Of course he would. He's just trying to make the Knicks. He's like, say something nice about the Knicks. Okay. Of course, Donovan Mitchell would treasure playing for the Knicks. I think Donovan Mitchell would treasure playing anywhere, maybe other than Utah.
There you go. And apparently the Lakers are interested in him now too. So,
well, the Lakers are again there's 3 teams that are always interested in everybody. It's Boston, the Nets, and the Lakers.
Right.
The Lakers they're
desperate.
They're waiting for everything else to fall through, and then they go, "Hey, come on over here, man. We'll take you."
Yeah, well.
All right. Anyway, all right.
Who knows?
Let's get on with it.
Well, they did sign a new coach.
They did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. Will Hardy is the new Jazz coach. I'm sorry.
Will Arnett?
Will Hardy.
Oh, Will Hardy. Okay.
No. Hardy. Was he
34 years old? He is the Utah Jazz's new head coach.
Was he one of the Hardy Boys?
He was.
What has he done?
Well, he accepted a job. He looks like he's 16.
Accepted a job with Utah.
Yeah. He looks like he belongs in Utah. He's the same age as Mike Connolly. Let's see, what did he do? He was
all right. Here we go. 5 things to know about Utah Jazz head coach Will Hardy.
There you go.
Age ain't nothing but a number. He's 34. Okay,
That's one.
Same age as you just said. Mike Conley, Jesus. Okay,
he was assistant on Team USA. He has a history with the Spurs and the Jazz.
San Antonio in 2010 as a video intern.
Okay.
2013 to 15 Spurs team video coordinator, so he's good with a camera.
He was an assistant on the Celtics.
Lead assistant, okay, on the Celtics. That was last season. Okay, that qualifies you to be a head coach of one of the best teams in the East.
He looks like Kristaps Porzingis' younger brother.
Okay, he was a head coach of San Antonio's Summer League 2015 to 2018. Okay.
And he was obviously Donovan Mitchell approved.
Okay, back in 2019, teamed up with Donovan Mitchell when he served as an assistant coach for USA's FIBA team. Also worked with Rudy Gay when both were with the Spurs. Hardy is also knowledgeable of Gobert, having served as an assistant coach in the gold medal Team USA victory over Gobert. So that's great. So,
so when they play
Minnesota, assistant coach on Team USA.
Gobert the player or Gobert the French video game?
And they beat France. So he's knowledgeable of Gobert. Oh, you're the big guy that we kicked.
Back in the 80s, I was very knowledgeable of Q-Bear.
What's sad
I called it Qbert.
What's sad is we know every false rumor about Kevin Durant, but we did not know that Utah Jazz hired
a new head coach. Right.
All right, here's number 5.
Kind of fell under the radar there.
He always wanted to become a student of the game, so why he passed on lower-level Division I offers out of high school to attend Division III Williams College, a school renowned for its academics more than its basketball.
All right. Fair enough.
6'6", he helped lead the Williams College Fs, that's EPHS, to an 80-31 record and 2 berths in the D3 NCAA tournament.
I would have just spelt it FS.
And lost in the championship game as a senior. So he's played some Division III college ball, was an assistant on Team USA.
Did some video.
Assistant coach with Boston, worked a little bit with the Spurs in the video. Yeah, I think he's
why not?
Okay.
There you go.
So is this a case of they really think he's on the come and he's going to be good and we got him. We want to lock him up because he's good and we think he's
he's not going to make the team play defense.
Yeah. Or he'll listen to what we tell him. He's got at being a head coach and he's going to follow the script.
You could have just gotten Mike D'Antoni.
No, D'Antoni is the opposite. D'Antoni is stubborn as anything, but he
D'Antoni is polarizing because of history. This guy is polarizing because he has no business being a head coach, certainly not of the Jazz. Right. Versus, hey, you never know, right? He can't do any worse than anybody else.
Right.
This just in: Quinn Snyder broke his hand punching a wall. How is Quinn Snyder not hired by anybody? I maybe I'm just don't know a damn thing about anything, but I honestly think he's one of the best coaches in basketball.
It's hard to coach with a broken hand, and
he
can't sign the deal. Was it his?
Well, he sold his house in Utah about 2 days after he was fired.
There you go. Quick question, then we'll wrap up basketball. Quick question for both of you. Just I meant to ask you this a few weeks ago, but I'll ask it right now since we're on the topic of the Knicks and the Nets. Just speculation wise, if obviously talking about Steve Nash, if Tom Thibodeau was the head coach of the Nets right now instead of the Knicks, would they be better? Would they be better off?
No.
They're better off with Steve.
Tom Thibodeau would have committed. He would have killed 3 players and then you coach the fucking Nets.
The pre-Harden.
blood pressure would have spiked so high that he would have had a fucking aortic aneurysm on the court and would refuse to leave as blood is spouting out of his fucking mouth.
The pre-Harden trade Nets. I think he could have worked with that team because they played a little bit of defense.
All right.
But the team now, no.
All right.
I think Tom Thibodeau
Yeah.
is also like a Quinn Snyder, only older and even angrier and
Angrier.
and more ornery.
So,
in that, like,
where he would use both fists to punch the wall. So.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the reason why he loves Derrick Rose so much is because he's the last player that ever listened to him.
Fair enough. I knew I'd get a funny comment out of that. So that's good. All right, I got to put that down for Ray.
And I love Tom Thibodeau. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for more Tom Thibodeaus in the NBA. Unfortunately, the NBA is not for that. They're for Will Hardys.
It's the youth movement.
Yeah. He's also going to update their Instagram account for them.
Really?
Well, that was his original job. Now he's been
social media coordinator.
Yeah, social media coordinator.
He's an influencer.
There you go. All right, let's get on with it.
Get on with it. What do you got next?
Get on with it. Let's go. Let's go back to a little bit of football.
Football?
A little football.
Football, you bet.
Is that starting soon?
Is football starting soon? That's what I hear anyway.
Feels like it's not starting soon enough.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same.
I feel like this is the longest preseason. I don't know why.
So here's my question. You'll see the news coming out of Carolina. Yesterday, or the day before. This week, let's put it that way.
Recently,
Coach Rule has decided, has cast down a ruling, if you will, that the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers will be none other than Mr. Baker Mayfield and not Mr. Sam Bradford Darnold, as Pete calls him affectionately. And the beauty part about that is that Carolina's very first game on opening day is against who?
The Cleveland Browns.
The Cleveland
Browns. So
now who's starting for Cleveland?
That would be Jacoby Brissett. Actually, I think they might have a better shot with Jacoby Ellsbury starting.
Maybe.
But
all right. Well, two things real quick. Number one, I guess.
Kidding.
I guess I have
alliteration.
To finally admit that I was wrong about Sam Bradford Darnold.
All right.
He sucks.
Do you think it had anything to do with the fact of the time that he spent on the Jets? Or because of his...
No,
he went from the Jets to Carolina.
They ruined him.
They wrecked him.
He's going to be playing this year. Look, Baker Mayfield starting this game. I think it's kind of a... May as well. All right, go in there, guy. Go get him done. Go beat your old team. Darnold will be in there again. Mayfield's not going to last the whole season.
No.
I don't think so.
No. This will be the most interesting train wreck at quarterback in the NFL this year is the Carolina Panthers. Yeah.
I disagree. I think
Baker Mayfield's going to stay in there the whole time.
Well, are you saying he's going to get hurt or he's going to get benched?
I just think at some point, for whatever reason, maybe injury, but I think besides injury, I think you will see Sam Darnold in there. Just because at some point, Mayfield's going to have two or three bad games in a row, and they're just going to say, all right, go get him, Sammy boy.
Well, it might because of injury, but if it's not because of injury, I'm going to disagree. I mean, I'm not going to disagree.
You think Mayfield's that much better of a quarterback than Sam Darnold?
I think he is. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he got a.
This doesn't surprise me that they named him the starter. It doesn't surprise me.
No, I think he's a better quarterback. I think he, if you do a little bit of a deep dive on his time in Cleveland, it wasn't as bad as a lot of people make out. No, and you're right. He will have 2 or 3 bad games.
And what my point being too, to be fair to Darnold and to Baker Mayfield, is that the Browns, when Mayfield was playing there, were a better team than Carolina.
Yes.
And a much better team than the Jets with Darnold.
Yeah, look, Darnold has never gotten a whole lot to work with.
I agree with your assessment that I I don't know. I feel like putting Baker Mayfield in a quarterback is like saying we're probably going to lose, but at least I won't be bored.
Yeah, but you know what? There was the best year that Cleveland had, right? Baker Mayfield, the quarterback. They went and they lost to the Ravens in the playoffs, and that was a pretty damn good season for them. And obviously, Carolina is not as good as that team, but I don't know. I think Darnold's just ruined. We talk about this all the time. You get in a bad situation as a rookie or a young player, you develop bad habits. It's really hard to get out of them. Sure. And if your team isn't good enough around you, you're never going to get out of them.
Right. So
I think they're ready to move on from Sam Darnold, or at least keep him as a backup. And I don't know what his contract situation is, but he's not going to be around for that much longer. And I think they're hoping Baker Mayfield will be the answer. Will he be the answer? No, but he's a better answer than Sam Darnold. And I don't think, unless he gets hurt, I don't think they'll take him out.
Fair enough.
He's got a career 61.5% completion.
His
ratio,
numbers are not terrible. It's just there's a couple of kind of moments that stick out in people's mind, and there's all the hype, right? And his college career and the big personality and the big personality.
He can be an ass. He could be an ass.
Yeah, of course. And he hasn't backed it up enough of the time on the field.
Right.
But he has backed it up some of the time on the field.
So let's think about that for a second. Who was the first quarterback to go in that draft?
What year was that? 2018?
18, yeah.
Was it Darnold?
No, it was Baker Mayfield.
It was Baker Mayfield.
Right.
Okay.
Who was the second quarterback to go in that draft?
Darnold.
That would be Darnold.
Yeah.
Both of them on a different team. Same different team.
Right.
A different team. So, QB. And that was picks 1 and 3. Pick 2 that year is still on his team.
Well, it was Saquon, right?
Saquon, yeah. So, who, by the way, he was being interviewed the other day. Saquon, I'm just going to throw this really quick up there. And this is what he said when asked about how he feels about all of the, media types and everybody else saying this is a make or break year. He doesn't think he has it anymore, blah, 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 blah. This was his comment in rebuttal to that questioning. He said that. He said, fuck everybody. I'm ready to go crazy. That's what he said.
Yeah, good Saquon.
Is that a good crazy or
just show it on the field?
There you go.
We're not holding our breath.
There you go.
I think Josh Rosen is going to go to the Panthers too in this year. So they'll have.
I thought he signed with somebody like a month ago, right?
Yeah. I still can't believe that the last player picked in the first round was Lamar Jackson.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
There's a little guy picked. There's another quarterback picked 9th in that, or 10th in that, 7th in that draft. That I think he's going to stay on his team for a while.
He might for a little while.
He might just win a Super Bowl this year.
He might just do that. All right.
Rosen's on the Browns. That's right.
He's on the Browns.
Yeah. So it's just 6 degrees of fucking horrendousness.
Yeah.
And so I don't think he's starting now. Jacoby Brissett is going to start for the Browns. So.
That's how good Josh Allen is.
That's
how good beat out Jacoby Brissett.
Josh Rosen.
But only for how many games? How many games did they?
11.
Is Deshaun out?
They signed him for 11 games.
Yeah.
It was an 11-game contract. That's it.
No, Watson's.
Is it 6?
No, it's 11. It's 11.
They changed it to 11.
But it's 12 weeks. It's 12 weeks. But it only covers 11 games because they have a bye. So it's week 13, game 12 for the Browns.
Well, listen, maybe Joshua Dobbs will surprise everyone.
There you go.
When Brissett gets hurt and Rosen is terrible, they'll be like, well,
in comes Dobbs. Now, let me ask you a question, though. You have, all right, we know this isn't going to happen, but you have Dobbs, you have Brissett, then you have Rosen, then you have Dobbs. One of them, in those 11 games, loses 2, and they're 9-2. Do you put Watson in when he's off the suspension?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. They're not going to be 9-2.
Obviously not. I'm making a point, though. If that were the case, do you put Watson in? straight away. Sorry.
if
Thank
they're-
you for getting us. Thank you for getting us to being first in the AFC North. Take a seat. Watson's coming in. He's off suspension.
If they're 9-2 with one quarterback, which
right.
would
Well,
be,
one of them, not all of them. One of them.
Well, it would be Brissett, right?
Fine.
Then maybe you wait. I don't know. I'd love to
Wait
see it happen.
till he loses a game and starts screwing up, and then boom, you bring him in. I can see that, but whatever.
I mean, if
right.
I was Jacoby Brissett and I went 9-2 in the first 11 games, then I would just start bringing massage. I would just start bringing massage therapists into the training room. And you would never see just Deshaun Watson again.
Yeah. One fumble and he's out at halftime. What happened? Well, he didn't look too good in the first half. We decided to bring Watson in.
There you go. All right.
The Browns go 9-2. That's gonna be a way bigger story than Deshaun Watson.
At that point, Deshaun who?
Right. It's probably because they have some surprise rookie running back who's already got 1,000 yards by game 13, and they've been handing it off.
And Brissett's been the quarterback the whole time, but he has a total of 100 yards passing.
And their defense is number 1 in the league.
Yeah, check the Vegas odds on that. Maybe drop a dime on Cleveland going 9-2.
Yeah,
that's going off at 700 to 1.
Yeah,
that's great. That may happen. All right.
They got a secret weapon and Josh Rosen there.
Right. They have Tom Brady was away from his team for 11 days. Apparently, he was on vacation in some Caribbean island. He was on vacation with Pete up in Newport.
Hey, couldn't get away from the Duncan.
Right. And it basically turns out that it seems there's no official word on this, but it was for personal reasons. But it just seems that he didn't want to go to training camp. It's like
he's old.
Been there, done that. I'm not playing anyway. What the hell am I going to do this for?
Nobody's playing in these. It's nobody's playing in these games, and if they do, they get hurt.
Right.
So, what starting quarterback has played a snap yet that's proven that they know is going to be a starter? Has Aaron Rodgers played in a game yet?
I don't think so.
No. Has Josh Allen? No. I mean, it's just come on. It's Tom Brady.
Danny Dimes has.
Gronk is going to take the first 13 weeks off before he joins the
team. He takes the time off, and then when they're in position to make the playoffs, all right, I'll play.
Yeah, I'll come back.
Fine.
Yeah, look, it's Tom Brady. What does he really need to do to get,
True story.
I mean, he's probably been working as hard, if not harder, than anybody else in the offseason, right? We know all about his regimen
It's why they have the names on the back of their jersey, so Tom Brady knows who he's playing with.
Right.
Yeah
exactly.
So, even if he was there, he wouldn't.
And speaking of Brady, Chris Sims the other day on one of the football shows,
he has a job.
Said that when it comes to fantasy football,
there's a lot of football shows.
He will take Joe Burrow every day of the week over Tom Brady.
Yeah, well, Joe Burrow's. I've been on the Joe Burrow wagon before he even took a snap in the NFL. Yeah, I mean fantasy football. I'll take fucking Homer McGillicuddy because it's a PPR league and he runs back punts and who gives a fuck? Yeah, it's like come on.
Yeah, it's fantasy football. It doesn't matter how the team does. It only matters.
Homer McGillicuddy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Homer McGillicuddy.
It's like
he's a long snapper and a punt returner.
That's right. It's just like come on. At the end of the day, you could have a great wide receiver on a shitty team that's really lighting up your fantasy league, but you're not going to see him come playoff time. So whatever. Chris Sims. What are you doing listening to Chris Sims?
I wasn't listening. I just saw it online.
Okay.
There you go. All right. Garbage Bowl's coming up this week.
Garbage Bowl. This used to be the best late summer night out to the Meadowlands to watch the scum of the earth fight each other. Mm-hmm. And this is not on.
And by the way, there's also a football game going on.
That's right. Yeah, this is the worst of Giants and Jets fans, depending on who had the home game, giving all of their tickets away to their degenerate friends so that they could fight in the stands during the Jets and Giants preseason game. It used to be a lovely event to attend. Absolutely lovely. I don't know. The Jets and Giants both look good once the starting teams are off the field. And the Jets were down like 27-0 the other day and wound up winning that game because I don't know why. So does the preseason mean anything anymore? Remember the preseason, like the last game, this Giants and Jets game, like the starters would play a half or even like 3/4. That wasn't that long ago.
Well, usually what they do is they came in for the first quarter. They came in for a couple of series in the first game, then when there's 4 games. Then they came in for the first quarter in the second and third game, and then they came in for one drive, one possession in the last game.
Right.
So
before the season.
Which leads us to Pete's discussion.
I'm going to say it now.
Bring it up.
I think it's time to get rid of the NFL preseason. Go to an 18-game schedule. And enough. You don't need any preseason games. They're not doing anything.
They're not doing anything for anybody. The only thing they're doing is they're showcasing their third and fourth and fifth stringers.
No, they don't. There's no reason to do that.
No, that's all they're doing.
You're right.
I'm not saying that's a reason to do it. I'm saying that's all they're doing.
I do think that preseason games I think you could have an alternative to it during practices if you had inter-team scrimmages.
Here's the thing. You've got teams practicing together. Right? Let me lay out my case here. You've got teams practicing together now, right?
Right.
The Jets and the Falcons probably had 2 or 3 scrimmages during the week, which revealed more than the actual preseason game did. Those second and third stringers or fourth stringers or whatever, they're being showcased. You're right, John. But that's for us, the fans, and at least half of us, don't even know anyway. I do not believe for a second that these coaches don't know who's going to play until they see these guys in a preseason game.
It's revenue.
That's exactly right. It's all
Just
about revenue. Season ticket holders have to buy the preseason game.
To buy them. Yep.
You got to pay pretty much full price for parking. It's just about the television and revenue for the owners. They don't want to give it up.
Yep.
Get rid of it. We're learning nothing. I like the co-team practices. I think that's a great development, and I'd like to see more of it. And have your scrimmages, but enough with the.
Yeah, I haven't purposely watched if it's on where I'm at, I'll watch it for a few seconds.
Right.
But I have not deliberately put on an NFL preseason game this year.
No, and the product is terrible.
It's horrible
because the starters aren't playing. Nobody wants to because you're right. When guys go out and they get hurt, so we don't
like Kayvon Thibodeau this past Sunday.
Right.
Yeah,
it was a chop block and apparently a legal chop block. But you
don't chop block in preseason.
It's preseason, dude. And he was the tight end from the Bengals, and he literally dove at Thibodeau's knee. How that's legal, I don't know. Well, what it is it's legal. It's legal if you're in the box. If you're outside the box or out in the open field, it's not legal to do that.
As an offensive lineman, as an ex-offensive lineman, there's a way to chop block without taking somebody's knee off.
Right. That's my point. Yeah, you can chop block inside the box. That's legal. But at somebody's knee, I mean, he's lucky that all it was a slight MCL sprain.
No, that's what we hope it is.
Hopefully. Right. And it doesn't become a nagging injury. Right. Yeah, that's and you're not even getting a look really with the personnel that are in and out. You're not even really getting a look.
Rosen has looked fantastic in the preseason.
He's doing great. He's doing great.
Exactly.
It's how the Browns and the Carolina Panthers determine who their starter is going to be from the trash heap of mediocrity that they've accumulated.
Yeah. So I say just get rid of it. Go to an 18 game.
What are they playing now? 17?
17.
Go to an 18 game. Listen, if you want to have preseason games, how many do they have now? 3?
3. There's only 3. Yeah.
Go to 2. If you really need to have them. That way, I just get rid of it myself altogether. But,
well, it's the same. Maybe they'll do that because that's the trade-off, right? That's the same amount of games.
Right. If you go to 18 games, then you have 2 preseason games, and you figure you got to play your starters for more than a quarter of the first game. Right? You have that first game where you can actually get a look at the starting squads going against each other.
They're not going to do it.
They should just get rid of it. Just enough with the preseason. Do these guys? These guys don't need to play games to get in game shape. Please.
No, they can just.
the
they're
first
pumped.
couple games might suck as a result of it, but who cares?
See,
I've allow them to have 3 extra offensive linemen in the first 3 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Chubby, go take an oxygen.
Just the defense has to count Mississippi's. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, if you want to,
I want to know, are they going to wear these big diaper helmets during the regular season this year? Have you seen these fucking helmet quilts that they got? They look like fucking the Great Kazoo from the Flintstones.
Right, it's putting them on. They're like, communicating with the mothership. Right, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to go see these
that's
games,
a safety thing.
They're not really that much. They're not like big discounts.
You have to be. All right, let's. All right, I live here in Denver. Okay, so somebody even gives me tickets to go see the Broncos play whatever for preseason. Okay, they give you the tickets. You don't have to pay for it. That's just okay, because that's usually what happens. So I got to either take an Uber both ways or go pay for parking. Then all right, I'm going to have 1 or 2 beers. That's going to be $26. Then this game's kind of boring. Maybe I'll go get a pretzel. That's another $10 to $12. So you're talking at least $100 a person to go watch somebody you will never see again play football. I'd rather just go down the street and watch like the high school practice.
Right.
Parking is like $40.
Yeah.
And that's discounted.
Yeah.
Right.
That's like on, SeatGeek or StubHub or, one of those. And, tickets are, I think
tickets are still going to be $100 a pop.
I think I did see, if you go look at the official, I got the thing here. This is according to staticclubs.nfl.com.
When was the last time either of you guys went to a preseason football game?
Years ago, and it was Jets and Giants.
Yeah, last time I went to a preseason game, I still have my season tickets, and I haven't had them in 13 years now.
I don't think I've been to a preseason game since Joe Danello was playing for the Giants. Joe Klecko was playing for the Jets.
I would safely say probably the last preseason game you went to was probably with me before you moved to Denver.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And I was probably drunk, and you probably told me it was a regular season game.
According to this website,
it's the only reason why I decided to go. Or I thought maybe we were going to see King Crimson, and it was a Giants game.
A football game. Why is there a football game?
No, because there's one of the 4th stringers that they were playing that day. His name was King Crimson. That's what it was.
That's right.
300 level corner end zone seat, the worst seats in the house. According to this website, $35.
Yeah.
But you go, okay. But then, $40 for parking in the car. Anything in the prime is over 100. Now you could probably get them, on one of the retail
day of game.
Yeah, you can probably get them on a resale site.
What you have to do is you have to go there, be right outside the gate, and then once the game starts, wait for those ticket prices to go.
Yeah.
And
well, I saw you could get them for like $19.
A free ticket. So I'm assuming, the ticket's free.
Right.
You're still going to wind up spending.
You're still spending $100.
And 4 hours out of your life that you're not getting back watching. I don't know.
Yeah.
To those who do it, let us know why you go to preseason games.
Please,
why you enjoy it. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm asking a really legitimate question. I see no reason.
If you get free tickets and you want to take the public transportation there, so you don't have to pay for parking.
All right, so now it's 6 hours out of your day.
Yeah,
right.
And
7,
and maybe you have a nice meal before you go. So you can buy a beer and a hot dog and you'll be happy. You don't have to,
Right.
That's what you just said. You ate before you went.
Well, you gotta have something, right?
It's a 3-hour game. You gotta have a snack.
Okay. So you're still talking about, public transportation's going to be here, at least. It's going to be at least $12, $15. So then you got a hot dog and a beer. That's going to be another $25, right? At least. And then, so you're still like talking about you're still talking a $75.
And you're not even getting to see the starters.
No.
Right. It makes no sense. Preseason games just make no sense. Yeah. And that's why,
but people do watch them on television.
People watch them on television.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else to do.
There's nothing else to do.
People are, at this time of year, people are so desperate for football to start.
Exactly. I mean, on this past Sunday, I just want to throw this up because it's something that we haven't ever really seen. I don't think ever. Okay, so I just got to put this up. This past Sunday, this was one of the plays, and this wasn't the only one of these, but this was one of the plays that the Giants had with on offense. Okay, I'll just put it up here. It says, for Giants fans who have never seen one before, this is called a pocket. It's something that a quarterback needs in order to function. Okay, look at that pocket around Daniel Jones. He actually had a pocket to work in.
He tripped over it 2 seconds later.
Yeah, well, that was right. That was after this, right?
He shit his pants and fumbled, but yeah.
So that did happen. So there's a little bit of I don't know. Well, we'll see. But
the Giants' 5 offensive linemen were able to contain the Bengals' 4 rushers on that play.
Right, exactly.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. And then I saw this and I thought it was really interesting. I just want to put this up there. And let's have a quick little chat on it for like 30 seconds and then we'll be done. Before making the final call on Daniel Jones, consider this quarterback comparison. Look at the records. This is Daniel Jones and Josh Allen. The records. Daniel Jones is 12-25 and Josh Allen is 23-15. All right. This is the first 38 career games. Okay. Completion percentage. Daniel Jones, 63%. Josh Allen, only 60%. Pass and rushing yards per game total averaged 247 for Daniel Jones, 249 for Josh Allen. And pass touchdowns versus interceptions, 45 TDs and 29 interceptions for Daniel Jones, 51 TDs and 28 interceptions for Josh Allen. So is the first 38 games of their careers. So
numbers mean nothing when it comes.
So it means absolutely nothing is what it means.
Yeah. See, I have eyes, even though they've acquired glasses and probably a new prescription here soon. I still watch and see what's going on. So yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones's numbers are not nearly as bad as he is.
Okay.
Yeah, just as he. Yeah.
As he. I got you.
It's Josh Allen's got a better team. We'll see. Look, this is the Giants. Finally, everybody was convinced that this was the right guy. This was the guy who was the mastermind behind the resurgence of the Buffalo Bills and their offensive line. He was the one who made Josh Allen who he is.
All right, well, see if we can do that.
We'll see. He's polished an uncut gem. Let's see if he could polish a turd into something that can shine long enough for the Giants to make the playoffs. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's all Daniel Jones's fault. But when I watch Daniel Jones play, he's not a top 20 quarterback in the NFL.
No, he's not. Do you think? And I'm of this school. They're giving him a shot, but they have a very short leash, and they're not going to let him drown this year. It'll be Tyrod Taylor's job if he starts to, because unless he just defies all schools of thought as to what's going to transpire this year with him, and I'm talking about Daniel Jones, they're going to want their own guy in there. Both Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. Right.
Yeah, my problem with all of that is who is their own guy, and if it's from the draft, there's no definitive great quarterback that's on the horizon coming out of this next draft. Mm-hmm. And are we going to have to wait another 5 years for this next draft pick to? I mean, go out and get a quarterback. Go get one that works. That's still under warranty. That works. That's how you win.
There you go. All right.
And make your line better.
Make a line better.
Doesn't matter who you get, unless you get Aaron Rodgers. But
I think the Giants line is better.
I think the Giants line is better. It was minimally improved last year, but it's compared to the improvements over the last few years. It's a lot better this year. It's not great, but it's a lot better this year. It's improved. So we'll see what they do with that.
Well, I think they have to play some games before you can say it's.
Of course. No, on paper. I mean,
Oh yeah.
And of course, this picture right here with the pocket.
Yeah, that might be the greatest pocket you see all season.
Exactly.
They photoshopped the blitzing linebacker who's 2 feet away from him.
So it is right. If you look really right here, okay, see the number 68 on the that the person he's up against, that's Daniel Jones.
This is actually a direct snap to Shepard.
Right, exactly.
I mean, the other thing too is I don't trust the Giants in the draft. I mean, they passed over Josh Allen to pick Daniel Jones.
Well, yeah, but you got
they didn't pass over Josh Allen to pick Daniel Jones. They picked Saquon Barkley and let Josh Allen go. Daniel Jones was the year after.
I thought they were both. No, weren't they both the same year?
No. Josh Allen was taken in the draft with Saquon Barkley in the 2018 draft. Daniel Jones was taken in the 2019 draft, a year later. But they passed over whatchamacallit. They passed over, what's his name? He's on Washington. Montez Sweat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. To take Daniel Jones. And there's a couple other. There was a couple other.
It wasn't a great year for quarterbacks.
It wasn't a good year for quarterbacks.
Other than Kyler Murray, who wasn't he the number one pick?
Yes. So there you go.
Oh, here's what it is. The Giant. There was a Josh Allen that went right after Daniel Jones. However, he was a linebacker.
Linebacker Josh Allen. Yes, that's correct. Right, that is correct. You're right. So anyway, all right. We have anything else?
Nope.
All right.
Actually, did you guys know that MetLife Stadium is cash free at all concession and retail locations?
I did not know that. I know that now.
That's awesome that everything's free.
If it were. Did you also know, this is what I really learned about this.
There's so many places that don't accept cash anymore.
There is such a thing as a reverse ATM. I did not know that.
There's a reverse mortgage too that Tom Selleck keeps talking to me about.
Yeah, well, I got two of those, but you put your cash in and
you get a card. You get a card to use. Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard of that before.
Citi Field, I've gone to 2 Mets games so far this year. Citi Field is cash free, and they have those reverse ATMs there as well. So there's no cash at Citi Field. But I'll tell you this. The first thing I do when I walk into Citi Field, any Met game I go to,
just throw all your cash in the air.
So I just throw it up in the air, let it rain. But no, I walk right when I go into the rotunda, and no matter where I'm sitting, I go in through the rotunda. And I walk straight up and I get a program because I always keep score. It's just what I do. I keep score when I'm at the baseball game.
You can no longer do that with a pen and paper, though.
You're not allowed. You have to do it on your phone.
You have to download
the app, right? It just keeps score, right? Now, anyway, so I go and I get the book right now. So I walk in and it's $6. Okay. So I got to swipe my credit card for $6. Okay. So I hand the guy this absolutely happened. I hand the guy my card. He puts it through, hands it back to me, and turns the square or whatever it was around and says, "Here you go." And I look at it, and it's asking me how much of a tip I want to leave.
Oh, yeah.
For a $6 program,
well, why don't
the guy went here, I'm going to tip him.
Why don't you just print out some blank scorecards and bring them with you?
So I could do that, I suppose, but...
Yeah, everything's a tip.
Yeah, but then you don't have the official program from the game.
The official program for the day. Yeah, exactly.
Throw away 25 years later.
Exactly. Well, I got it when I went to Keith Hernandez retirement day, jersey retirement day, retirement day. And it was a special gold, looking program. And it was in a sleeve and sealed and everything else. So when I bought it, and I'm like, you know what? I always keep score. I'm not going to keep score. I'm not opening this thing.
It was in a little plastic baggie.
It was in a hermetically sealed package,
like a little baggie.
You're going to keep it and put it up on the shelf.
White stuff down
right across. Right, exactly.
And 20 years from now, it's going to be worth $7.
It's going to be $7, and then I'll sell it. I'll jump on
it. It had some 1986 cocaine and Keith Hernandez's mustache hair.
Couple of nostril hairs that fell out.
And a cigarette.
That's right.
Cigarette.
Well, listen, here's the good thing about this whole thing. Now, when you go into a store and you got to do the outro in 50 seconds.
Yes.
So we get out in an hour and a half.
No.
Now, when you go into the store and it says no credit card purchases less than $10, you can call bullshit. And you go, I did $6 at Shea. I know you can take it. So there you go.
Exactly.
So we get something good out of it.
Yeah. Only thing I'd like to say is congratulations to Paul O'Neill, who's been announcing Yankee games from a bunker somewhere in Ohio for the last 3 years. But he came out to Yankee Stadium, and his number was retired. He's now in the whatever it is, the Hall of Justice. He's a Justice League member now. He had to repaint the entire wall out in Yankee Stadium. But if you want to play next week, Paul, there's a spot open. You can even DH.
There you go. All right. On that note, we will wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with a video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Watch all the sports. Stay tuned for next week's fun show. It'll be a little different of a fun show. And then the week after that is going to be our NFL preview the day before the NFL kicks off. Our NFL preview show. It's all NFL that week. And it's also our 100th show. So we're going to have a couple of fun things for you to pay attention to. So anyway, enjoy, folks. Take care. And we will talk to you soon. Cheers.
Oh, by the way, rest in peace.
Oh, we did forget
Len
that.
Dawson. Very underrated quarterback. Mm-hmm. One of the all-time Kansas City Chief greats and Super Bowl winner. And good announcer, good football guy.
Great announcer inside the NFL on HBO with Nick Bonacani.
One of the really
never missed one of those shows.
One of the really great people to ever play football.
Yeah, Len Dawson. The 87 years old.
87, yeah.
87.
Good. It's a pretty good run.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. So rest in peace. All right. Take care, everyone. Cheers.
Bye.